In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness, I bear witness. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness, I bear witness. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness, I bear witness, I bear witness.
Assalamu alaikum. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness to the oneness of God, and I bear witness to the oneness of His prophetic community. We thank Him for His merciful intervention in the affairs of the black man and woman here in the wilderness of North America, and raising up His messenger Messiah, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And we thank Him for leaving with us today, our champion, God's man on scene today, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. In their names, I greet you all in the greeting words of peace and paradise, as we say it in the Arabic language. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome, 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 everyone, to another episode of I Bear Witness, the I Bear Witness podcast. I'm coming to you live tonight. We're streaming live. We have a very special night tonight, some very important information that we want to bring to everyone's attention. I have a very special guest that I would like to bring on at this time, which is my brother Darrell Jones, uh, also known as DJ Third Eye, the bad boy of talk radio, and other names. So without prolonging the time, let me bring on my brother Darrell Jones. Peace and blessings, brother D. How you doing?
Peace, Minister. How are you this afternoon? Evening.
Man, I'm fired up. I'm happy to finally have you on this program, to have this conversation that we've been needing to have for such a long time. First and foremost, let me give you your propers and introduce you for those that may not be familiar, who may not know. Brother Darrell Jones is a brother who had served 32 years behind the wall for a crime that he did not commit. He was wrongfully incarcerated and served this time. I had the pleasure of meeting Brother Darrell Jones behind the wall while I was going in there doing my prison ministry. And one of the realest brothers that I've ever met, brother was working in the prison from behind the walls. Matter of fact, I had went to an event, Brother D, of yours before I even met you. You know, there was an event that took place from True Magazine, which was a hip hop magazine that was out. And I was invited to this event from the organizers of the True Magazine. And we went, and while I was at the event, you spoke at the event from prison, and I think at that point I had not yet met you, and when I finally did have a chance to meet you was in Old Colony. I was walking through the isolation. You was in the box at that time, and I was actually going up there to see one of my brothers who ended up, getting put in the box in isolation, segregation. And as I was walking toward him, you seen me, and we connected, and you let me know who you were, and from that point on, our bond just grew and grew, and I had the privilege and the pleasure of working and to see so much great work that you did. And this is what we want to unpack today in light of what we're seeing, in the state of the culture. And that's part of the subtitle of what I want to talk about, that we're going to talk about today, is the state of the culture as we see, what happened with the young rappers, Young Thug and Gunna, and how the feds are going after rappers with the RICO, and a lot of controversy that is taking place now in the hip hop culture, and even the advent of this, what they call drill rap, where the young brothers are involved in this drill rap, which is really promoting this self-destructive genocidal culture. This is some of the things that we were working on with you, that you were spearheaded from behind the wall to organize men to change the culture and to stop the violence. So, I'm honored. I could say so much, but I want you to say a few words, but just to our listening audience, this is a man who didn't just do time, but from the cell block, he established a radio station from jail. He established an independent magazine from jail. He produced 2 albums from jail, and was involved in giving back to the mothers of violence, the survivors of homicides. So he was an activist while sitting in prison and organizing community meetings, bringing community leaders to the prisons to speak to the inmates to see how they can utilize the inmates to be impactful in reducing the violence. He wasn't calling asking for more gym time. He wanted to be helpful and be used to help impact the violence out here. So with all that being said, D, I would like to pass it over to you and just allow you to say a few words of introduction or whatever's on your mind and talk about why we're here this evening.
Peace to all my people, that, Minister. And me and Minister can talk about my relationship in the nation, my relationship with the Jesuit community. I'm kind of on all sides. We should talk about that, right?
That's right.
But what people would know me as, it's going to be Darrell, right? It's going to be Diamond. It's going to be, right now it'll be the bad boy of good talk, right? And people probably never understood why I did that, Minister, right? And, so it's many names, the strategist, these are names. That's but right. It was something that I developed inside while I was sitting in that prison innocently. And in that 32 years of being behind that wall, I built a few things, right? But right. I built a few things with some of the people that, whether they're the leaders in Massachusetts now, or they were someone's aide, they were something else. And they were coming to the community meeting that I had built along with my brother M1, you know what I mean, that I had built in there. They were coming. It was the first time we ever had some of the community leaders, and I'm going to say it all because I'm on here for a reason. Some of the community leaders, they know the truth. The Eugene Rivers, I'm going to say their names. They know the truth with me, right? And it wasn't out of humility that I did it. And this is why I have a message for particular people I want to send it to, right? It was because it was my calling to do it. But in that calling, even in my rejection of it, growing with you, understanding like my worth, I didn't see what was in me, but other people would see when I'm speaking or I'm talking or whatever I'm doing. I don't see that. I'm disconnected from that. It's a message, but it's a message that's in me that I don't own. You know what I mean? I'm not the author of that. And it's hard to explain it to people. So resume is going to be hard to explain to them because I broke myself into so many segments of names. But I think the initial name would be DJ Third Eye.
Yes.
And, when they hear DJ Third Eye, you should know, never DJ'd in my life. That's just the initials of my name. And third eye meant my mind. But what we're doing tonight, and the reason I decided to do this is something that me, the minister, a young brother by the name, I consider my brother and protege at that time, Darren Howell, along with Pastor Dickinson, along with, I'm going to say Ayanna Presley, you know what I mean? There were many people that were at the formation, the beginning of this, primarily Chuck Turner, which everybody in the city of Massachusetts and Boston and across this country seem to have forgotten who Chuck Turner was. As you know, I was blessed to get his last interview, which I couldn't believe that, Chuck left this earth and I come out of prison and get his last interview. Right. You know what I mean? And here it is. He came into prison to find out who I was and what was going on in prison with Darren. And Darren says, hey, we need to check this dude out. Right.
Right.
Hey, so I want to go to the point first, and then we can go down the line here. Right. The most important thing to me was I don't want to be doing this after all the years. And I got 35 years tied in total. Right. So everybody else that was a gangster killer that ran a gang, you know what I mean, from across the country, because they don't understand, they ship everywhere. You know what I mean? Federal system, guys, we got federal blocks, right? Everybody, the worst of the worst was coming to Walpole at that time. You know what I mean? Right. Everything is happening, right? So you're meeting dudes across the country. You're meeting the baddest of the baddest, and that's regular, right?
That's right.
Okay. The reason that I'm doing this message is that during those times while I was inside, I acted with a few of the people that may be the baddest of the bad without them knowing it was me, as you know. Having a radio station across from the prison. A lot of people don't know that, you know, when you talk about the 2 albums, they don't know I won a United Nations Award in prison.
That's
They
right.
don't know I won LA Film Festival Awards in prison. You know what I mean? They don't know how many times we called for a 40-day no shooting from a penitentiary and got 39. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? They don't know these things. And a lot of people have, and I brought up Eugene for a reason. And I have to say this. You know, they talk about the Boston Miracle and they talk about all the things that they did, right? There's 2 factors in there. There's one in between that nobody sees, and there's the one that also matters because it happened out here. You know, in Massachusetts and Boston, let's say, when they take credit, you can't do this any longer as long as I exist. I can't allow it, right? When you take credit from those like the group The Wise Guys, right? And you take credit from what they did to cease the violence in the community. That is something that is being maneuvered to change the story. The narrative has to change for someone. The idea is who's changing that narrative. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And I hope that's not coming from my end, minister. You know, that air thing. I don't like to distract the people, but nonetheless, none of that, right? Do they recognize? But we know that these brothers that were putting it in from different gangs all over came together to put a stop to them. This society.
D,
Yes.
do you have 2 devices on? Is there a phone that's on?
There's a phone on. I can move them.
Maybe lower the volume or put the phone on mute because that's where we're getting the feedback from.
Okay, well, I just threw them over there, bro. There's no need to call me during this time, right?
Yes, sir.
So, you know, not to be long-winded on the subject, but the idea behind the subject is, what am I really? Why would I come out now and say? And I've been in a situation from Darren to you to Dickinson to senators to different people, like, tell your story, news shows, tell your story. You know what I mean? Let them know you was on a Huffington Post. Let Kanye know he messed with you without even knowing it. You know what I mean? Like, let them know all this stuff. And
hey D, can I interject
Yes.
for a minute? Because
yes,
we know what it is, but I know that our listening audience don't know. So I want to elaborate a little bit. You know, one of the things that our brother DJ Third Eye, Diamond, brother Darrell, when he's talking about, he spearheaded against the administration's will in the DOC. Understand that in the prison, particularly here in Massachusetts, they have been very anti-program, particularly anything that is conscious and black. They're dead against that. And so against their will and desire, because of brother Darrell's report, where he was meticulously following the news, engaging with Senator Kerry, engaging with all of the black clergy, all of the political leadership, all of the black leadership, that he was writing himself, not, with nothing but trying to be helpful. In some cases, making donations to the charitable events, and other times being just as thoughtful as sending a card, when someone would pass away. But he developed a relationship with all of these folks in the community, that when he had this idea for a community meeting to help stop the violence, he reached out to the community leaders, who then approached the DOC. And this event was unprecedented. That first community meeting that we had, where you had a who's who of the black leadership in Boston. You had, as you said, Ayanna Pressley, who was Senator Kerry's aide at that time. Is that correct?
that's correct.
And she's now, again, of course, our congresswoman. He had state senators, Gloria Fox. He had Chuck Turner, city councilor. He had, again, Pastor Dickinson, Minister Don Muhammad, and a slew of others, representatives from the Jesuit priest community, Catholic community, and just a really diverse group of who's who of the leadership in Boston that came because they knew him through his work and his outreach to them, and what he was trying to do was something that resonated with them. And we had that first community meeting where all these leaders came and met with Darrell Jones and a group of lifers. And the cry that what he was asking for was, listen, we're sitting here serving life. We want to be of service to our community. We don't want to just be in the gym. We don't want just recreation, right? We want to establish programming that can help impact and change the culture that some of us participated in. From that community meeting, he was able to establish, and the DOC, along with the nudge from the Black leadership and the political leadership, that gave the green light for the establishment of a project to develop a video, where they put together a video which was called The Voices from Behind the Wall, where you had all of these brothers that were part of this program that was selected by Brother Darrell. And these were real brothers that were respected in the streets, that were respected in the prisons, that all got on this video and really told their story in an effort to guide the young people in the streets away from violence. When that video was produced, a DVD, we took it to community leaders, and it was shown in the community at community centers, as a way to deter the violence. So this all came from the brilliant mind of this brother that we have the privilege of talking to today. So that was just one of the initiatives that he did, and there were several more. So I just wanted to give a little bit more meat to that, D, because the people don't really know, the degree of work that was put in and the outcome of it.
Well, that's the whole thing. Pardon me. That's the whole thing, that I had opportunities from yourself and others and news stations, to go ahead, tell them they don't know. We're talking about you being innocently in prison 32 years, but they don't know what you did in there. You know what I mean? They don't know. And as you know, we'll get to that. It's been 3 years, whatever I've been out now. We'll get to that, because I was really wanting to put my attention on the idea that I had left a lot of other people behind, that they were, people I grew up with, and there were ears that were, connected to mine. We would hear each other, and I knew that person was innocent too. And I just couldn't adjust out here knowing that nobody's banging. No one banged for me. No one carries signs. You know what I mean? I didn't expect that. And half of people didn't even know who I was. You minister, nobody. You know what I mean? I went in that way, coming in the way I came in. But I realized that it was so many valuable people like Darren, let's just say, right? And I really want to get to what I'm getting to. The reason that I'm saying this is that I'm glad you did that, because, as you know, I don't really look to do that. Just like I don't look to be like, you really don't know where Third Eye was in this thing. You really don't know what I was battling in the prison. You really don't know where I've been and what I've done. And so I came out here and I looked at the world, and there's a YouTube and there's a Facebook and there's an Instagram. And, I touch on all of it. As you know, I'm not doing the tech myself. Someone has to assist, right? Yeah. But, I'm on a bunch of platforms. You know what I mean? I deal with a bunch of things, whether it be Gangsta Gone Legit, whether it be Genetically Resilient, whether it be the Innocent Convicts, whether, there's a lot of things that my hands are on, but my life is in. There's a difference, right? But then I said, we just spoke on it, man, and there's a few calls on it from big people like yourself, you know what I mean? And it became a thing of, you got to do it now. And so let me get this out the way. This is not the cause. I've never done it for that cause. I've done it because it's all I knew how to do. There is a way of being in suffering and actually being the victor. Like, there's a crown for suffering. Now, people think that's a bad sign to wear, like bad clothes, you know what I mean? But there's a crown for suffering. I think Jesus had one of them. Muhammad had one of them. See, Malcolm has one of them now. We just put the crown on after the fact, like we do Martin Luther King or anybody else. You dig what I'm saying? But there's a crown for suffering. And I realized, like, wow, if only brothers could tell brothers the truth, right? And not really worry about, like, where we've been and what went on and how it went on, but look at specifically where we are, right? And not intellectualize the truth while we doing it. I had all the avenues in some degree to be able to And I know, Minister, I'm looking, I'm like, I don't have any technology on. So we're going to make sure. There we go. Now, I literally don't have anything, almost not light. So we have to look at it and say, what's the most important part of even doing this, right? What's the most important part of any of our existence? It's got to be the truth. At some point, it's going to have to be the truth, right? And if it's going to be the truth, somebody's got to tell it, right? So I looked at it and I said, well, in the third eye world, I had more opportunity. And I'm going to give the minister a chance to correct that because it's so loud in my ear that I know it's loud in their ear. And so I don't want that to be the case. It's not those. Because there's nothing on. But I just want to, I don't know the technology.
Let me see.
It's going down to some degree. It's like an open mic or something, but
yeah. So this sounds like there's a phone that's on or something else.
Yeah.
I don't have hold on for a minute. All right. Go ahead and speak, D.
So one of the things I know, right, is that we're in a 60-second society. When I came home, I saw it as a 60-second society. Like you jump in, you get your shine, and you can maintain it, you hold it down, and you know, you can podcast, you can do all kinds of stuff, right? And I go, do resumes come with that? Right? Or are people always under umbrella of being fooled? Meaning, even if you come home to help somebody, you can naturally have felt that in your heart, right? But let's look at the resume of what you might have been doing when you was away. You see what I'm saying? Because the actual work is not what you heard. Because it'd be cool for me if a lot of brothers who were really about their drama in prison actually came home and said, I'm still about my drama, but I did learn that from some other older school dude in jail that could not get back home. You see what I'm saying? The same way Malcolm can admit that that's how he learned it.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? We don't go to jail. Nobody didn't school nobody.
Right.
That's just the basics. You're going to get schooled one way or the other, right?
That's right.
Besides having done the mag and been involved in a lot of the hip hop stuff, unbeknownst to some or even their memories, I saw some stuff that became disturbing to me. So we can get back to me and then we'll talk about whatever. But I want to talk about this because this is a message.
Go ahead.
Most important thing to me. You know, I'm not really all the way hip on how to watch the what do you call this here? The YouTubes and all of that stuff, right? But I learned that and I hope I'm not talking too loud. I'm just trying to talk over that air.
You good?
So I watched and I said, yeah, who's gonna tell this truth? You know what I mean? I see them all. I seen the guy's name is, and I don't like to mess nobody's name up. It's just off my head because I'm not the YouTuber. But Gilly the Kid, I think it is.
Gilly, yes.
And I saw him talking to Lil Durk, right?
Mm-hmm.
I seen him tell the story about losing his brother, right? And you know, I've been in this situation, and losing his brother is somebody, you know, murking, killing his brother, and him saying I can either deal with that or be who I am right now. And I would not be where I am right now had I paid this person back, so to speak.
Right.
That's a lot to say out in the world because we call that taking it short, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I had that choice, especially when you got other family members out there. I never understood it in prison, how you had it in you to be able to, like, I'll go raw and then be like the defense of my family out there when they get to shooting and busting. Because I've seen many dudes who lost their family in cells crying, but you're not there to defend it while we would activate the war, while we push back, right? But we call it a short. You know what I mean? And so I'm going to make sure, Minister, you remind me to come back to why I'm saying it's short, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I appreciate that. You know, the 32 years and post-traumatic stress. And, you know, I hate to announce, but a lot of you guys didn't know. Minister knows, you know, for a while back, I had a little cancer scare. That was, you know, a couple years back. I don't talk about that, but this is the time I have to do it to do everything else. You know,
yes,
I recently had the COVID thing and damn near was on this little deathbed. You know what I mean? A lot of people didn't know that, but I kept doing the radio show and you know what I mean? You know me, I'm going to do it until I get going into the box, right? So I sat down and I realized like that gave me time to look at everything that was happening on the YouTube because it's all this nonsense. I see stuff with Benzino, right? Know these dudes. I see what's happening to every one of them, right? As you know, I got a chance, man. Big shout out to my bro, Big Chuck, Big Bob, you know, to go be with Nipsey. I got actual video with Nipsey doing the right thing, talking, because I needed him to say, hey, yo, bro, what about the people that's still away innocently? Which a bunch of other rappers never did.
Right.
We got 50,000 rhymes with my man upstate, and I ain't never seen none of these millionaires take off a $17 million watch, right? And just throw it up there and be like, yo, get the lawyer, or let's get on this. You don't see that happening. There's more jewelry on people's necks than there is opportunity to get out of there. That's crazy, right?
Yeah.
So when I saw it, I saw this, and this is who I want to talk to. Yeah, nobody wants to talk to you, Connor. Because me, a lot of dudes won't say this, but I'll say that. I always used to look at God, right? And I know, Minister, I'm going to pause for a second and we can double check, because that is annoying to me, so it'll be annoying to them. And I just don't think it's fair. We're going to do this again. And with the message, all I really want to do is send this message. And
yeah, I don't know. I'm not hearing it on this side. I'm hearing it coming through. But I don't know why it's coming through.
Nah, none of that stuff's even on. Let me get one look here, Minister. Just
sure.
Nothing's on. That I know. Nah, nothing's on. In fact,
see if you could turn your volume down a little bit on the computer, maybe. Okay, I know it's driving you crazy, bro, but you was coming through though.
Okay, good. Well, then that's why I want to get to this point, right? Because after a while, you know, I would even be saying, well, what you talking about? So I'm just gonna go through it, and then you know, you can mic me because you hear your name and say, what this dude talking about, right?
Yeah.
So I saw, man, I was telling you about the Gilly, and I want to make sure I come back to that. That's short. All right.
Yeah.
That's important to me.
Taking shorts.
What is actually the short? And so I'm watching, man, and I see what's going on with Ray. I'm speaking on these things, right? Because this is nobody gonna come back at you. But I've been around in your industry from a jail cell. And I was looking at it and I saw, man, like everybody going at it, right? Then I looked at who the people were that were going at it. Like, okay, I see this stuff, man. You know, it's provoking, right? I seen it in prison all my life. You know what I mean? And then I looked at who it was, and I was going, they got a brother, Whack 100. Peace to you, bro. I'd like to talk to you, bro. They got a brother, Big U. Peace to you, bro. I'd like to talk to you, bro. Then I saw Jay Prince. Peace to you. I'd like to talk to you, bro. And then I saw brother Hassan Campbell, I think it is. And I don't like to mispronounce nobody's name, brother, but Hassan Campbell, I believe it is. Peace to you. And then there's a whole bunch of other things. But the YouTube already knows all those other things, and they know this too. But then I saw the role that nobody's paying attention to, having fought the system inside as long as I did. Like, I literally was taken out of a prison in the middle of the night. That's all in the paper, as you know. You know what I mean? And drove secretly, where the paper said he was taken out the president through the woods at night, hidden and brought to a jail to be hidden. You know what I mean? And turned that into where the prison wound up hiring me, paying me $100 a month to be the rep of all of the people that's black there, right? You know what I mean? Ironically. But nonetheless, the reason I'm bringing up those names, because, you know, I see the guy Whack. I love all their personalities for a reason, because sadly, there's wish to be some of them, and then there's the idea like, yo, I'm all of you, right? Okay. So I looked at it and I said, wow, man, I had a disagreement with God about how he built me, right? I want you to understand that. A disagreement about how he may have built me. Because in my mind, okay, I'm doing the best I can, Minister. But in my mind, right?
You sound good.
Okay, good. In my mind, I kept saying, yo, does that brother Big U know that what he's doing is actually what God is calling him to do versus no matter what they're saying? He's doing it out here, right? And you know, it can come across as a fact of manipulation, right? Because the system has to be manipulated because it manipulated all of us. So when you apply that tactic back, it's like playing chess. When they use chess, they're telling you to manipulate this board. Play it with the pieces you got, but work it the way you want to work it. You don't get on the other side of the chessboard and work it the way the other guy wants you to work it. Unless you don't know how to play chess. You don't take his opinion on move the rook this way.
Right.
You all in to play it yourself. When I saw it with these guys, I went, wow, I want this brother Big U to know, you know what, bro? I believe 100% you can unleash the wolves. You can do it all. But if they take away what you could really do, the thing you were really gifted to do, because you did it all. When we start telling somebody about what we did, and they did do it, and it's real, you already the authentic article of that, right? You don't repeat that. You see what I'm saying? You don't repeat that. When the Celtics won the other night or lost, but when they were winning or whoever wins, they don't repeat that same game. It's game 2 now.
That's right.
You dig what I'm saying? And now God called them forward in game 2, and I'm going, hey, yo, Big U, you in game 2. The only thing is he didn't make you go through it in prison, because those people put so much pressure on men in prison, right? Or women in prison, to say we will not allow you to naturally be. We know what you are in prison. We find out. And when you take them on and win, I've taken them on and won. I'm alive here winning, and I've been in real battles with them, not the physical, mental. Law, every angle it could be, we've been there. I'm not losing on that plane. My concern is, okay, I'm going to talk through this. My concern is no way, no how, right? And I don't think it's light or any of that. We're just testing something. No. So there's nothing else I have on at all. Probably a connection, or I have no idea. But I'm
Hold
not
on for a sec. Stay right there. Stay right there. Peace, family. So I just removed Brother Darrell. I'm doing a sound check. We're getting a great lesson. The brother has a lot on his heart. He's a beautiful brother, and he's coming from the right place, and he is the right person to say what he has to say. So I want y'all to really pay attention to what he has to say, because he's speaking from a place of experience, and he's speaking from a place of not just someone who sat on the sidelines, but he's coming from a place of one who has actually put in that work, on all levels. So I just wanted to take a little break, pause for the cause, to see if the sound was on this end, but I'm not hearing any sound. I'm gonna bring our brother back so that he can continue.
So yeah, from out whether we get sound or not, right? And can I have ice back that other light, please? Right.
Yeah, when I took you off the studio set, I wasn't hearing that feedback for so maybe something with that computer. I'm not sure what that is.
Yeah, it could be, right? Okay, well, God's the best of planners, right? So
that's right.
Whatever you want to go across, and just so they'll know, the nation doesn't sponsor this and it's bad for you. I smoke, and I'm not gonna not be me to relax me to get out what I want to get out, right? Charge it to, I say with me, whatever I'm doing, I say what I can handle whatever God holds down. Everything else you see, charge it to them. Like they charge it to us, charge it to what they did to me, charge it to the post-traumatic stress. I wouldn't be getting Social Security if that wasn't the case. You know what I mean? Right. Pass it back to them, right? And most people, as you know, minister, just be like, I never see you angry. I'll talk about that, right? What was the point of it? Big U. And I want to move on with this. Big U. Right. I don't know the brother at all. But what I do know is the dreams that I would have. And I would say to myself all the time in prison, I would go, damn, man. From Chicago, my cousin Ernest was deep in that. I know I got a bunch of family that's GDs and vice lords that are in prison right now doing natural life. Fact. You dig what I'm saying? So I look at it, man, and I said, Big U, I wish I was you, bro. Oh, I don't wish that I could communicate, because I can communicate. I don't wish that I could be able to organize, because I can organize. Those are gifts. I don't wish I was able to tell you what I want to tell you, because I think I can articulate that if I have to. But I wish that I was a little bit, remember that song, I wish I was a baller, I wish I was a little bit taller?
Yes, sir.
Isn't it ironic, man? My bro Big Chuck could tell you, man, at one time, I've been in martial arts since I was 14. I had feet that were crazy. You know what I mean? and Big Bro would come out there, man, and do the thing, you know what I mean? But my feet were crazy. And when I hit prison, I wasn't throwing my feet. It was almost like I didn't, we were taught it, but it was almost like I don't even want to be violent because that just means I have to be more violent, believe it or not. Right? That's not who I am. That's not really. So I wasn't the G for slapping you up and beating you down. But what I caught on to was all of the G's that I knew that were really bad dudes. They would be in there for 10 years, 5-year bids, and they still in, and I'm home now.
Yeah.
Catching new bids inside the prison, right? And you got to give it the gang style. What is it? All just to get a rep, right? That was really happening. And we played in those positions. Most dudes know that. But the reason I focused on Big U is because I said he got a big bag on his back, right? And that bag that everybody else don't see is that he know what he capable of. He knows what he runs. He knows they government know. Everybody knows you all are making it evident. But the idea is the gift he got that God reverted back into him to go back and use to change somebody that might actually be in defense rather than killing a brother, in defense from keeping your mama from getting killed in a Walmart or somewhere. He exists, and only Big U can give him that. You see what I'm saying? He wouldn't look at me and say, hey, yo, I hear your intelligence, but where's your bras? You know what I mean? Where's your bronze? What's your hands like? I watched the brother the other night, man, on one of these YouTube, and he would constantly say, but what his hands like, right? And I'm going, I learned in there, when you always got to put your hands up, right, to show who you are, you don't realize when you're in a casket, the reason no one's really remembering you, the reason that no one's really celebrating you and you don't have a street name, because you wasn't a big rapper, but you don't have a street name, is because your hands were the fear. So now that you're gone, people are more relaxed. It wasn't love. That's why when they say what's better, love or fear, and we'll often say it makes sense. You'd want somebody to be scared to protect yourself, right? But one thing about people that you want to consider the bad guys, and I've been around the worst, is that you can outlove them in a different way because they ain't never had this shit. I never had it. You dig what I'm saying? You don't know it. It's unfamiliar to you, right? My grandmother instilled it in me, gave it. You know what I mean? They got family now that give it. But when you're in there, you're on your own, right? Why am I on Big U so long? Because I want them to know, bro, don't let none of them play you out of this last call God got for you.
Yeah, talk about that.
It's the one you got that they can't get. It's your biggest value. Here's an example why I'm sending this to you, brother Big U. Because let's look at real value. That brother Nipsey Hussle would be in his casket no different than Biggie and whoever else. How much is the jewel worth today? Somebody else rocks your jewels when you're gone. You understand that? You don't rock your jewels. And if you take them down there with you, you really took away from your assets that can help your family. The jewels are pointless to what we do. It's calling legacy and move on and hope that somebody changed because of you. That's it. That's a black man's legacy. Who did you pick up and who became what they were because of you? That's why we have a Nat Turner's, or you hear other brothers in the nation, or you hear other Malcolms. You be like, he sound like because those people were able to transfer what they were. Big U, I'm watching. Bro, they don't know. I know. I just didn't have no group to run with me. If I had what you had, if I had brothers behind me, I would have been right next to Trump dealing with the issue, bro. The fear I don't have. You understand, of any of that right there. You're not gonna national anthem. People say things, but they say it with the national anthem behind them. They can never just tell the truth without a long script behind. There's no real script. Here's the work. I use people to say, let's look at Young Thug and the brothers that went in. What we don't pay attention to is this, and it's sad to me. If you go back and look at Young Thug, it's not that so much the issue that they in and what they should have did and how they should have did it. If you go back and look at them in the courtroom, you'll realize the worth of yourself. If you pay attention, that's all I did in prison was pay attention to your world to understand what was going on. And I studied hard. I didn't just read every book there is, and I done read them all from the ISIS papers on down. I know what you know if you were in prison, but I also know a word that most people don't know at all. It's the word that tells you why you're self-taught, why you're able to teach yourself something, and why this word exists. So rather than say it to you out of that, rather than I'm gonna spell it for you, AUTODIDACT. The word means one that is self-taught. It's the only word in the language that says that shows you that a person can be self-taught. He doesn't have to go to Princeton, Harvard, anywhere. So now you go, hey, Harriet Tubman did all those runs. What college did she go to? Jesus did all he did. Do anybody know what college he went to? Who gave him his degree? No. When you get in that system of believing that the knowledge is making you real, you forget how to count things. So Young Thug, when you look at that situation, when you see Young Thug in the courtroom, we should be telling our kids, yo, you remember all the chains and jewelry he had on? Isn't it ironic that when the system get him, they don't want that ish? The day they get us, they be like, send that home who you wanted to go to.
Strip you down. They strip you down.
Right? And everything you saying about, man, I don't rock nothing cheap. We all end up wearing that same uniform. He got the same thing on I had to wear for 32 years. The little top and the bottom and the name on the back and it one color.
Yeah.
And blue Bobos, we wearing what they telling us to wear. And then we tell our kids they got to buy somebody else's name when we really should be telling them it don't matter if they Goodwill or Gucci. You dig what I'm saying? Now, if you look at Bill Gates and all of them, if you look at Bill Gates and go pull a picture of him and Mark Zuckerberg standing together, they got on white T-shirts. You don't know what brand they down with. Because they don't have to show you no brand. They saying we got enough money. We are the brand.
Yeah.
So they don't need nobody's name on them, right? Why am I saying that? Because Young Thug is there, and what they showed us was everything he got and the worth of it don't mean nothing to them. Just give me him. We're going to get this much a year for him anyway. People don't understand. $50,000 a year to hold one prisoner, 45. We're going to get him. Then we're going to invest his family into paying for phone calls, send him commissary, and then the rest of your dough going to go to lawyers fighting this.
Hey, D, let me give you a break, right?
Yes,
just for a minute. And I want to make a few comments, right? When you was talking, a couple things, right? First of all, from my perspective, beloved, you are not a nobody. You have so much value. You're a brilliant mind. You have done so much great work, and I mean, just to be wrongfully convicted for 32 years, just to be able to come out and still be intact, brother, that's a blessing. But you're a brilliant mind. So I just want to disabuse you of saying, I know you're saying it in the context of celebrity, but there's some things that's way more important than just celebrity status, and you have achieved that. That's one. When you were talking about the strong and the hands, Nas said it like this. He said the strong rule the weak, but the wise rule the strong. And this is what I witnessed, being in all of the maximum security prisons in Massachusetts and seeing you in the different institutions. And again, as you said here, you don't project yourself as a tough guy or anything like that. But I bear witness that, those who are considered tough guys, those who have, credibility in the streets for being killers and thugs and whatnot, that all of these men came around you and they respected you and they listened to you, and you were able to get them to do things. So you talk about Big U and his influence, and salute to the brother Big U and all of the brothers. And I know you're reaching out because you love him, and you see and recognize the power that he has. But I also recognize that you had a degree of that power, not the celebrity status necessarily, even though to a degree you had some of that. But I've seen firsthand your ability to take, brothers that were straight up bona fide certified thug, street dudes, gangsters, killers, and be able to give them information and teach them how to fight. Teach them how to fight with this, and win. And so I wanted to say that. Now, one of the things that stood out to me from you in the beginning of our relationship, I loved your passion, because I came from the hip hop. I'm a byproduct of the hip hop generation in a sense. Listening to rappers, listening to Public Enemy brought me into the Nation of Islam. I am hip hop. I grew up doing graffiti and breakdancing and rapping the whole nine. But there was a change in the culture. And so one of the things that we know is that our culture, hip hop culture, has been hijacked, and they at some point began to promote a self-destructive genocidal culture. And so they have our youth out here aspiring to be gangsters, aspiring to be thugs, and even now aspiring to be killers, and to brag about being a killer, and to think that you're not a man until you've caught a body. And some of our young people are believing this, and a lot of this stuff is being promoted through the rappers, through this drill rap. And one of the things that you were saying that resonated, see, a lot of the times the rappers who are talking all this gangster stuff, oftentimes they're not really living that. Even if they used to live it, right? They stopped doing that in order to do music. But they'll still keep talking about it, promoting it, and glamorizing it, as pushing it as a viable option for our young people to do. And you were pushing back on that as a brother that was in jail and being in jail. And I heard other inmates in prison kind of angry, really, with a lot of these so-called gangster rappers who were rapping about the lifestyle that they actually lived. But the brothers in prison know that it's not a glorious lifestyle, and it doesn't have a happy ending. So it's not something that should be promoted and touted in that manner. And so this is what we started to do the work, and calling on the real OGs, right? Because we have to reclaim our culture, because the enemy has taken the culture and they're misguiding our youth, and have our youth now thinking that they have to be criminals in order to be successful. And it's really a setup. And this is what we're seeing with the Young Thug Gunner and all of the indictments, and now how they coming at rappers and gangsters with the RICO. Man, this whole gangster lifestyle is a setup for our people. And I'll say this, I'm gonna go on record and say, today, if you still out there promoting being gangster, you either too young and naive to understand that you're being played, or you are an older brother. And we got to look at those who are older and still pushing this gangster narrative, because oftentimes they working for the police. And that's facts. We here in Boston, where you had Whitey Bulger, which was allegedly the most notorious gangster in Boston, but he was working with those people. And don't think that that's limited to just the Irish gangsters or the Italian gangsters. They have, in our hood, they have brothers that are out there who are pushing this gangster culture to our young people, right? And they're really leading you down a path where you're going to end up dead or in jail. And we know how that story ends. And so we want to affect the culture and change the culture and stop us from killing us. And now I label this Know Your Smoke, because we seem to have so much smoke for each other. We ready to fight and kill each other just because we live in a different neighborhood. We live right down the street from each other. But isn't it ironic that we have no smoke for our historical 400-year-old open enemy who is still oppressing us today, who has created systems of oppression that is locking our people up? You know what I'm saying? And so, we part of what Brother Darrell is trying to hip us to, and he's making a call. He's making a G call to the G's in the community. We got to stand up. We can't keep allowing our youth to be misled down this path. We have to change the culture, because at the end of the day, we going out. One of the things, D, you had mentioned before, a lot of times dudes is doing what they doing for street cred. And another great jewel that you drop, you would say, well, you doing the most for the street cred. You want to be known as a killer. You want to be known as a shooter. You want to be known as that dude. But He said, what can your street credibility buy you? Because when you locked up in prison and your mother dies, you can't even bury your mother. You can't even send your children diapers. You can't support your family with no street cred. So
Well,
why
I'm
are
going to
we
explain to him exactly what I mean by that, minister. Part and self, right?
Go ahead.
But I also want to keep me and you aware, right? While we're communicating, you know, some call them haters, some call them inattention, whatever you want to call them, right? It is a 60-second society, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they can't take to being educated. That's, you know, when I say being educated, they don't want to go to class, right? You're going to have to package that in a lunch box and let them have it on the go. And when they get there, they can be like, oh, they got the little juices in there, you got the whole thing. And then they start tasting what you got. That's all we can do at this point. You know what I mean? That's just the truth, minister, right?
Yeah.
And so I just want to deliver the package because I can get it at some point. They're not going to know, like, why did he bring up this? And why did he bring my name in? And what is he doing? And I want to knock that out for him. And then I want to dialogue as long as we need to dialogue, right? And come back and dialogue. And I want to say why I wear a bad boy, or why I wear gangster gone legit, or why I'm involved with genetically zillion. I want you to know why tonight. I didn't want to do none of this, right? But I realized, like, my God is not going to get off my back. No, whether I was innocent in there and I risked my whole entire life, right? You know, trying to make movements. And then I say, hey, God, it's my turn now. You know, I did everything. I came home and I ran and worked for the mayor that's now in the White House as an advisor on all of how to deal with it, right? And, you know, and I look at Big U and I want to go to the next thing. I look at Big U and I go, they're going to accuse you of being anything because they don't believe you got the brain to work them the way you work through life to survive to be Big U. Why they wasn't running their mouth when you were in prison or on them streets. You see what I'm saying? Because they know that you have these, you have that, right? But they know that I'm not the talker all day. I'm learning this, but I know I have something of value. Big U, don't give up that something of value. Because when I say, you know, that the idea of a smaller nobody, I'm saying on the platforms they on, yes, who the hell are you? What does it mean? And I'm going, I'm not here to worry about who I am, but I've done it with you. Even when you don't know I've done it, and before you, and helped you when you don't even know. From a prison cell, I played a role in that. Some of you guys don't even know. I put you on things. I was behind things you wouldn't even imagine, right? But I wanted to talk about that account. You were making a point, right? But the actual point to that is how? Why did I do it and how does it get done, right? Paying attention to the atmosphere. I used to sit in prison, man. You know, cannabis is my main man, but that came from prison too. My brother Cormega and them were visiting me in jail, and I'll show them these things in a minute, minister. But you know, Cormega was visiting me in the joint, and you know, different people that don't even recall why, how they were doing it, or none of that. Let me go to, and I'll do this because I want them to know, like, I want them to discover, to reach out to me to discover privately. I don't care about all this right here. I care about them. I got a reason that I'm calling and I'm mentioning Jay Prince in that beef with all of you gods. I got a reason that I'm doing that. Because, yeah, you could change so much. You dudes have bronze and followers. You understand? It's like having a chessboard and somebody's got to play the game. You guys have bronze and followers. You guys have brains that when you bring them on the other side, we could change our plight way better than any Black Lives Matters, matters or anything else. We could change it with you dudes because you dudes are the ones that have put it in. I actually didn't do nothing. You know what I'm saying? I'm actually not even interested in knocking off people's people and all that right there. I talked to girls. That was all I'd done. And my story's going to come back. They're going to have something to do with that. You know what I mean? But I didn't do all that. So I'm not going to have the MO for that. And I don't want it. I don't have no natural enemies that come from I did something to somebody's family. I didn't do nothing to nobody's family. I don't have no enemies from you robbed me back in the day. I never did none of that. You know what I mean? If anything, I might have been the victim of it until I was able to defend myself from it. The reason I'm saying this is because now, Jay Prince, I want you to look at this, and I want you to know, in a way that you don't know, you know me, bro. In a way that you don't know, you know me. Slim Thug, in a way that he don't know. You know me, bro. You know me. There's a reason. There's a bunch of people, man. You know what I mean? Scarface. You know me. You just don't know you know me. When I was saying Slim, you know, there's so many of these. We don't want to go down this line. I have to do this for a reason. When I think about the brother, man, Prince, Jay Prince, I go, damn. I had beefs with God about that. I don't know about other dudes, man. I had beefs. I was angry at the fact that he would give me the mind or give me the spirit or the tools to be able to know how to get through the system or know how to fight back every kind of way and didn't give me the rest of it. You understand that? Me surviving in prison wasn't just me surviving in prison. There's my man MT, no matter how nobody see it, there's a bunch of other dudes behind me, right, that are like, yo, he's valuable to what we doing. And it's called playing your role for real and saying, this is what I do best. That's what you do best. And if we team up, we're going to be the best. So now I see all them, and I see Jay Prince, and I see the WAC 100, and I see everything that's going on, and I go, wow, these are the dudes that know that they can get on here and say what they want to say and know that they're about that, and everybody's following that's about that. And there's little dollars coming in from that, I'm sure. But they're not Floyd Mayweather dollars, and they're going to come with a price, meaning we're going to lose one of them behind this. You heard? Homies turn on homies and say different things all the time. If you believe you got somebody in your family, whether it's your mama, whoever it is, that ain't said to somebody else something about you you don't know, then you're a fool. Because we all have the ability to piss somebody off. And the expression come from our mouth and what we can carry, right? But what about the design of being able to say, us, what's in our spiritual account, us, what's in our link? You know, in the prison thing, I did call it the strongest link. My idea was, people always say it's the weakest link that breaks the chain, right? So my study was, why don't I study the strongest link and just keep duplicating that, and there could be no weak link. You understand that?
That's
so
right.
I'm okay, yeah, I can't do what a WAC gonna do, a Big U gonna do, make no calls like Jay Prince gonna call, get on here and say what the brother Gilly might say, or get on here and say what the brother Hassan Campbell may. I can't do none of that shit. You dig what I'm saying? But I do know when you being attacked. I do know the tactic for that. I do know how it's getting played. I do know how they take Big U and put him on one stage, which is his calling, and then say, we're going to take your other brother, WAC 100, that y'all really dealt, and we're going to make you so angry at each other that you're going to expose each other. So we're going to send the same film out like they did on Malcolm to Malcolm's wife. You see what I'm saying? You know, and the same thing they did to Martin Luther King when the feds, when the FBI sent the tape to Coretta Scott King to show him doing something sexual in, you understand what I'm saying? Right? Listen, man, let me explain something to you. Whatever sexual thing comes up, whether you're gonna go gay, whatever you're gonna do, everything that you down and about black people that might do it, whether they go gay, whether they did whatever they did, you don't understand all that been done to you anyway. Every slave, every grandparent we come from was molested, was done something to. They bred this shit in us. You understand what I'm saying? So when you see dudes, man, you talking about Nipsey and you talking about what happens to him, cool. But that doesn't change your ability. Your ability is what we're going to die on, your ability. And the reason why I say your ability, what do we have the difference? So let me say this right here. For Young Thug or any of the dudes that put in work, or any dude in any neighborhood that put in work, when you put that work in, after we put that work in, and then they show us that they take our jewelry and send all that home and your sneakers and everything, put us in the same outfit, that we're the value. But after you put that work in, get on the phone, go to your neighborhood, and don't go to your man's barbershop, and don't go to your man's store, not because you know him. Go to anything that's been built on your block while you was gone 20 years or whenever, and then go in there and say, I'm big whoever. And see if they're going to let you get all that free stuff. That owner's going to tell you at Walmart, the person at the cashier at Walmart, when he called the manager, I don't know nothing about that. You got to pay for that. It's a card that we build up we can't use nowhere other than unless we are alive physically to do it. You understand that? It's a reputation that only lasts until you physically are gone. That's why it's physical. But the real talent they got is leadership. So now I look at it and go, yo, I really didn't want to come back into this, but I'm going, I got to say something. I got to expose me. It don't matter what nobody got to say. I got to do it because I'm saying, yo, we need them. Everybody else is sitting back, enjoying it, and actually OGs are putting OGs in situations to be seen as though somebody's putting us in a Floyd Mayweather fight. You understand? They saying in this corner, in that corner, and now you've allowed as gangsters, promoters to promote your fight without no pay to your death.
Yes, sir.
Don't make sense.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? When you got closer, you got quieter too. That's weird, minister. They're gonna get closer, right? But nonetheless, you understand what I'm trying to say? So now what I'm saying is, what is our wealth? And I'm going, okay, we dig all that up. I don't know a dude. I've been around dudes in jail, stabbing, killings, all of that, right? And I don't know a dude that don't go out and check his spiritual account. The idea is we got all the money in our pocket. We got everything you can rock, everything else. But what's in your spiritual account? Now you look at that as church. You know what I mean? I'm not assigned to any church. I'm assigned to God, and then I deal with all of them. But what I'm saying is, what is in our spiritual account? When do we have enough currency inside our spiritual account to be like, you know what? Not only am I a G, I'm so much of a gangster that I can actually do it right. And ain't nobody gonna stop me from doing it right. I'll die for doing it right. That's why I said Big U is doing something that's necessary and gonna be right. Die for that. Let them come get you before you go to them.
That's right.
And I know that doesn't make sense naturally to be able to say, nah, I'm gonna get him. Right? But in reality is, your message is more important than anything they throw at you. Because when they throw it at you, you're another Malcolm, and your message is going to go on no matter what. If death become you, it's going to come no matter what. But ain't no way I'm going to sit back and be like, they so big that I can't say nothing to them, whether I know them or not, and knowing that I'm a fighter too, and then sit back like all the stuff I see going on and watch it. When I wasn't even watching too, I don't get involved in it, and then sit down and go, yo, I'm going to watch it too, right? I'm not that small of a person. They're valuable. We need them. We can't have them having no conflict that the whole world's watching, the feds is watching it. They're going to be needed. I need them, right?
Yeah.
And I'm saying nobody can pay me back for the time I've done. So take this as a plea, right? Take this as a plea.
Hey D, as we begin to wrap up, because we're running out of time here, but I want to address one other thing, right? And we're gonna come back. I'm gonna have you back on because we want to really show and prove, all of the work, and we really, want to engage and really there's a movement, man, because that's what we did is build movements. And I would always tell you that I couldn't wait to get you out here in these streets so that we can utilize your brilliant mind to continue those movements. But one of the last point I want to close on is just dealing with, this whole gangster stuff, man, is fake. You know what I mean? And we really gotta hammer that home. And as we see, one of my observations is I remember when I came into the Nation of Islam back in 1988, 89, and I was gangbanging back then before I joined the Nation of Islam. But a couple of years after I joined the Nation of Islam, I remember they raided my hood, they raided my crew, and that was the first time I caught wind of that. And they locked up like 30, 40 dudes from my hood, my homies. Literally, I was with before I joined the Nation. And because it was my hood, I remember I had a newspaper. I'm reading my dudes' names. I'm like, man, they gave this dude 20 years, and this one got 40 years, like football numbers, right? And but after that, what I noticed, D, was that every year or every other year, and they're escalating. They do these big raids and they lock up everybody in the hood. And when they did my hood, which is OP, right? They said they was watching them dudes for 5 years before they raided them. So then I looked, and a couple of years later, they did the same thing in the Mission Hill projects. Big sweep, right? They was watching them for 5 years. And then after that, they did Heath Street. And then after that, they did Castlegate. Then after that, they did Interville. Then after that, they did Lucerne. Then after that, they did the Cape Verdean brothers on Wendover Street. Then after that, they did Columbia Point. Then after that, They did Lennox. Then they did a couple of other side blocks. They just did a raid just a couple of weeks ago. And what I'm saying is, each time they do these major raids, they locking up 20, 30, they're locking up a whole crew, and they're telling you that they've been watching you for 5 years. So what that's telling me is that when they did one raid, let's say when they raided OP, Mission was already on their radar, but they were just letting them go to get big enough before they raid them. And then when they do raid them and they confiscate all the money that you make, right? Anything that you bought with drug money, your cars, they sell them at the auction. If you were smart enough to buy property, they sell that at auction. And 80% of all the money that they confiscate goes right back to the police. So really, gangsters, you got to ask yourself, who you working for? Because whether you know it or not, you actually working for the police. And if you out there thugging and bugging, it's because they're allowing you to be thugging and bugging. Look, in this current indictment with Young Thug and Gunna, they said they was watching them for 12 years. Damn, 12 years. So they letting you go out there and think that you a big fish and you a big man and you hood rich and you gangster. Man, please, they watching you. And they only allowing you to do that because you're doing nothing but bringing harm, mayhem, and chaos, death and destruction to your own community. And you're selling poison to your own people. So they allow you to do it until they get sick of you. And then they lock you up and take all your money and buy new police equipment. So look, this whole gangster thing is fake. And this is part of the message that we got to get out there. And only the young, and this is why it's always the younger dudes, because they lock up all the older ones. And then the next generation comes and does the same thing. But now there has to be a transfer of knowledge from the older to the younger so that we can stop this cycle, this self-destructive cycle that is raining havoc on our community. So D, can you close us out with just your vision or your thoughts on this whole gangster culture that we drawn into?
I try to tell you, like, Minister, you know me, whether it's you know how you know me. And yes, I would say from the Million Man March on, right? If we go play back every tape the minister ever did, you ever did, anyone ever did, you'd realize we've said that before, right? We're going to keep saying the same thing. What I realized, right, because I'm studying it, you know what I mean? I've studied all my life. As you know, that's all I did was study in and out this, because I knew that was the calling. I couldn't get around it. What I'm saying is 3 minutes ago, somebody else said, while we were saying that, yeah, somebody else said that. What's the name? Said it better. Yes, that's it. You know, it's really, we don't drive forward in life looking through the rearview mirror, man. The rearview mirror in the car is only made to pull out and do a few moves. Go on the highway and try to look at nothing but the rearview mirror and see what's going to happen. You're going to crash. That's not what we're supposed to be doing. We have to expedite our message, and the message is packaged simple. And I was saying I have a plea, and then I told you there was something I had to get back to. I'm not forgetting anything that I was saying. I know how time works out here. I looked at Floyd Mayweather, but a brother had sent me a picture of his watch, and I was saying the same thing. He said that was like a $17 million watch. And I was like, they got our people so fooled that you would buy a $17 million watch. And I realized that when I was in prison, I even had the time right, and I didn't have a $17 million watch. I had a $4 one from the prison system. And the time shit was free. You dig what I'm saying? The rest of it is like, show, right? And then what I'm saying is nothing's wrong with that. I don't care how much they get, what they do. I'm trying to get them to see the value in the game that's being played right now. I think that brother Hassan Campbell's doing a good job explaining that. But if we have to lay down resumes to when you started that, I have to say, I didn't start that out here. I dealt with it in a system where a union went at me. I'm in papers for getting moved at night and setups with all kind of, things, man, and winning back at them. You know what I mean? Winning lawsuits back at them worth big bread because of what they're doing. No, my concern was, how do we tell each other, yo, hold up? So we had the hold up project. It was one of the projects, man, I did for the kids, right? So I have it somewhere here. I did that hold up project, remember, for the Mattapan Library. I saw the stuff that was going on, and then I got all the little gang guys, and together the big gang guys, and I said, let's write letters and put them in that library. You know what I mean? And they can go in each box. We had Corbett Street, all the streets, and dudes participate in that. And then the librarian them hit me and all that in the paper. Like, yo, that really worked because they were hearing from their own. They're not going to be listeners. They need to hear from their own. But if we want our homies to come home, from Larry Hoover to anybody you want to come home versus that system, they're not coming home because they're going to judge it on the value of that person. Where does he fit in value? And if we're out here wilding, then they're not bringing no Larry Hoover home to be able to say, I don't see your people doing what they need to be doing, so I don't see your influence. I'm hearing it. I know you can. I know you've done all the good stuff in prison. Where's the example, Larry? Right now. That's where we hurting them at. If you want to help Larry Hoover, you dig what I'm saying? You be the example of it to let them know, yo, we live this life the same way Farrakhan's people live their life based upon the principle of who giving us the jewel. We're playing it backwards. They're not going to make that exchange. They understand that he's bright on a whole nother level. They understand that he could actually become the president if he wanted to and do right. You dig what I'm saying? Sometimes good people do good wrong. That's the point. Now, to go back down the time, good people are doing it, but you can do good wrong. Mean you apply it wrong. You understand? Our kids are not going to sit here and let me lecture them or anything else. They're on the move. While I'm trying to lecture them, somebody else is trying to shoot them, right? If we got fast foods, then we can deliver the message the same way. We got fast food funeral homes. If you were looking at funeral homes, you wouldn't really saw a pastor and see how many he served when you say 500 killers in Chicago, 700 in LA. You'd realize, man, we'd have turned him into a fast food restaurant with our people. We're not keeping it real with us. What I'm saying is this was a plea. The first thing to this was a plea, not a lecturer. I'm telling you from my suffrage what I need. The system never gonna give me back the time they did. While I was in there, as you know, I lost my grandmother that raised me. I lost my brother. I lost my son, right? And I couldn't even go to their funerals. Remember, I couldn't go nowhere. I was in the maximum. I couldn't say goodbye. I couldn't do nothing. They just in the ground when I come home. It's over. That was it. That's all I got in segregation. People died. My brother and grandma died a week apart. Your people died. Your son died, right? And I'm going, yo, nothing I could have did could change anything other than the person that was behind it, other than the diseases that was behind it, raising geniuses to deal with it, to find our cures for COVID and all these things right here. But those valuable dudes, yo, you lend yourself to the beef. This is what I'm saying. Yeah, take it from whoever you want to see me as. You lent yourself all your life to the prison system. That's why I wanted to come back to shorts. When Gilly was talking about losing his brother, and he was saying, yo, and he was telling Dirt and that was a short that he took. And I would go, yeah, I had the same opportunities, right? To get at this. What is my worth versus what you're trying to kill? That's why I said, what is beautiful never dies. What is my worth in that, right? Can I get up off the ground, although you are trying to take my bloodline out? Can I supersede what you're trying to kill? These dudes, man, don't let this industry sleep. Somebody go tell them, somebody else that's supposed to be a G, a gangster gone legit. Somebody go tell them and stop the clown that's behind pushing it. Because if you go and look at it, if all of y'all are following them and you all on each side claim that both of your guys are real, then you have to understand that both of your fucking guys are valuable. Excuse my language. They're valuable. If you knock off Big U, if you knock off Whack 100, if you knock off Jay Prince, if you knock off this brother Hassan Campbell, right, they're going to fill him in with somebody that really ain't that. And then they're going to talk your kids into some other ish that they really didn't live. What I'm saying is, how come I can't get those same kind of soldiers? I'm willing to risk my life and go run my mouth and put down and show what I know from my studies on how the system is playing this. And it ain't the regular talk. It ain't the Harvard study. I go to those places and speak as the minister know. I get invited to all those colleges to speak. I keep that on the low because I didn't want to do this. I'm saying if the system could have you for a while and you took that and we ain't going back, a lot of your boys is calling from the joint, right? This ain't no cry to go do nothing. This is the fact. A lot of dudes in joint that was in beef, the police that came and bust them up, gassed us, sick dogs on us. And they live right around the community. I ain't never seen none of y'all getting no bunch of cars and be like, yo, I ain't taking that, so I'm going to get him.
Facts.
You understand? I'm going to get him, right? Yo, this dirty cop did this to me in the joint. I'm going to get him. You understand that? They took my life. Am I going to get them? This is the only option they leave us, right? Those are not the only option. The option is not to let them cut us off from saying, yo, dig this here, you're a track runner. The baton is run. You know, America wins the race, and I'll try to end on this. America wins the race by passing the baton. But it's set up for this person's the anchor, this person's this, because they know what they need at each end of the race. I've been missing to be them. I don't have a shot call. All my family's there in Chicago, and, you know, it's gangsters over there, you know what I mean, and all that right there. I'm trying to do my life on my own, man, and say, this is what I got to bring up. This is my calling. The biggest role I can play and the only role I can play is to be able to say the one God gave me. Yo, put me at the front if we're going to battle with these people. If they want to have a battle of wits, they're going to find out they unarmed, because I done studied them the whole time. It's how I survived that without a scratch.
Yes, sir.
So in nutshell, I'm saying that my plea to the brothers that I mentioned, from Big U to Whack 100 to the brother over here, Hassan, to, you know, the brother I mentioned, the Campbell brother, to Gilly, to everybody in that midst, to Jay Prince, yo, they about to make you throw it all away, right? And it don't matter if we was gangsters. Can we legitimize our gangstership like the Kennedys did? Everybody they had, you understand, when you see the Kennedys, their father was a gangster, but he built his kids to be presidents, and that name is worth. They can walk in a store and say they're the family of one of the Kennedys in your neighborhood. And as soon as that store find out, they'll give them all that shit they putting on the counter for free. Just because of that. And I'm saying, that is you, Big U. That is you, Whack 100. That is you, this brother Hassan Campbell. That is you, the Gillies. You got them. You got them cool. Now, you know what you can do, but you don't know what the hell y'all can do together, and you don't. Yeah, he violated by something he said. Did the prison violate us by stripping us down and telling us, we talking about Nipsey being gay and who's gay? Can't nothing be gayer than me than spending all my life and then them telling me bend over. A man telling me to take my clothes off and bend over when I go on visits and come back and get stripped. That's gay. That's a molestation of us. If we taking that, we shouldn't be worried about nobody else until we say, you literally was taking me and making me take my clothes off and turn around and do this shit. And you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Kill somebody else about something they doing.
Come on.
Listen, we got that twisted. So this is my plea to you all. You can X me out, say, yeah, he's trying to, I'm not trying to make a move. Believe me, I would have made it. I've been out here 3 years. I could care less about any of that, right?
Yeah.
And the Ray, I'm saying, yo, notice, dude, the pressures are going to come, right? It don't matter what nobody was doing. You better remember one thing, man. He don't even remember. You look at people like Benzino, Big Chuck, different people. They played a part in this city keeping some of your kids alive. We don't never have that little small forgiveness for each other like, yeah, he's a mess up. But what did he do to the spiritual account for my kid or anybody else's kid? Right? Come on, man.
Yeah.
That's what I'm asking the nation and anybody else to say, that, yo, this drama, that's irrelevant. The value game that's being played is to knock off a Big U who can actually revert the language the other way, to knock off a Whack 100 who they know will respond this kind of way, the way he was, because we can't say, oh, he's a great manipulator, or this guy's here, or he runs his mouth too much. As far as I'm concerned, whether it be any of us, the day we got on any of these Facebooks and said anything that they don't like, we ran our mouths too much. You understand that? It wasn't about whether Monica Cannon did something wrong. Let me just put that on record. It wasn't about that. Everybody been stealing something, if you want to call it that. But look at what she gave. Look at what she did. The woman even gave me a little check to say, yo, you came home, here's a little. You understand? I look at that and go, yo, we're going to turn that into being like, look what you did.
Go ahead.
Don't forget none of the stuff you took out of somebody's car, out your mama's wallet, whatever it was. Don't forget the person you robbed. You took something. Then when the government be like, all that help stuff is phony. Yo, the help you getting is phony. That's the point. Don't never judge the other person like, yeah, come to find out he was doing. When you see a black person go down for that, just tell yourself, shit, the shit they serving me is phony too. And know the value. I'm pleading, man, from a nowhere, from a whatever you want to see me as. But I done the time, and I did the time like you did the time. I manned up, did my time. I lived my time. I did all of that. But my whole enemy was them. I won money from them. I fought them. I won cases on them. I brought in leaders. I changed their whole system. inside and intend to do that outside. The innocent convicts, all the stuff I do, I would love to be telling you all that. The Bad Boy Good Talk, the show I do, I'm actually doing my show actually from 10 to 1 tonight too, right on Bump That Radio.
Yeah, you have like 5 minutes for your show, bro.
Yeah, with the show, no man. I play the music. Matter of fact, I'm gonna call them and tell them put some on till I set up, right? Because this was important. You know what
Absolutely.
I mean? And Bump That
Absolutely.
Radio is an opportunity. My brother P.O., man, Chicago, Atlanta, shout out. Was an opportunity as well to say, yo, whether it be you doing genetically resilient, whether it be gangster gone legit, whether you be involved with the radio station you're doing, the idea is we platforming up for one reason, to be able to say, yo, the strongest link.
Come on.
The ones of us that do get together and become that link, let's pass that link on. Don't worry about the weakest link. We're just going to eliminate that and build every link like the strongest link. And I'm saying somebody needs to recognize that, hate it or love it, a lot of them brothers is worth a lot more than what you want to see. They're worth more than the fight.
Yes, sir.
And I'm telling y'all, man, don't let them play y'all into that. I know that game.
Thank you. And thank you for all that you said, brother. Thank you for all that you do. And just to let our audience know, man, you're gonna hear more, because this was just to get that word out, but we're gonna show and prove. We're gonna follow up with actionable items. Because we don't want to just be talking the talk. That's what D would always say. We don't want to just be talking, man. We want to be doing that work. And so we're going to be coming back, and you're going to hear more about, the work that has been done and the work that will be done. So we thank each and every one of y'all for tuning in with us this evening. That's that real talk. Let's not engage in that self-destruction and tearing each other down. There's a bigger plan to destroy our community. And we have to be wise to the game, and let's use our minds. So with that, D, thank you for coming on, man. May Allah continue to bless you, and I'm gonna get you back on here real soon, brother. We're gonna keep this work going.
Just wanted the message, man. Survive this COVID thing, survive this health cancer, all kind of stuff. But the reality is, Minister, not only do I appreciate we done this, we know since I was young, right? But what I'm appreciating is that God is able to say, hey, yo, you didn't want to do it. You don't want to do it. You don't want to deal with all the other stuff that comes with it. Really don't care versus my life versus keeping what we going to need to win the war. Then you're going to have to just take it because I said something you probably didn't like or agree or, think too much. But, yo, all the dudes that can do this and what we're going to be needing them.
Absolutely.
Bottom line, no matter who said you're a sucker or what, we're going to be needing them.
Absolutely.
You get what I'm saying?
All we got.
Shout out, if I can, man, like I said, we doing this gangster gone legit thing. It's gangster gone legit. There's a credibility in that. Don't let them take away us going legit. You dig what I'm saying? Don't do that at all. Understand that when we talk about the innocent edition of that, understand that I'm talking about George Floyd. I'm talking about everybody innocent. Your mama under attack. Those are innocent people just like I was, not just prison. It's the prison out here, the things that put you in it. You know what I mean? And P.O., just join us, man. Start join us with the minister. Join us a few places. Join us on BumpThatRadio.com.
Absolutely.
All of these, we teaming up for that same thing we did in the joint to be able to say, we'll just create our own platform. You're not gonna do what they did with Bill Cosby, like him or not, when he went to buy that whole network of NBC and Oprah and them left him hanging. We would have had our own network. You dig what I'm saying? No, we just gonna do it anyway. It got to be done.
Gonna do it for self.
I mentioned, and I'm putting some respect on your name.
Yes, sir. Thank you, bro. Thank you. And I would like to invite everyone, man, again, to continue. If you have not subscribed to the YouTube page, go ahead and subscribe, hit that like, subscribe, and also share. And I want to invite everyone to come on out this Sunday at Muhammad Mosque number 11. We'll be going into our subject, dealing with the time and what must be done. Also, I want to let you know that we do the Hour of Power every Tuesday evening, where we have the 10,000 fearless peacemakers who are out in the community promoting peace, and we're looking for a few good men. So let us come on in. If you want to be a part of something, we got something for you to work out with. And the 10,000 fearless peacemakers is non-denominational. You don't have to be a Muslim. You don't have to be in the Nation of Islam, because the violence affects all of us. So if you want to be a part of that, meet us 10 Washington Street every Tuesday evening at 7 o'clock, and we'll be going out to promote peace. With that, thank you all for tuning in and listening. D, love you, man. May God bless you. Allah bless you. And to our audience, Assalamu alaikum.